When you reach the age of 60, life has already taught you many things. Some things no longer shake you the way they once did. Some words no longer hurt the way they used to. Because, with time, life quietly teaches you a secret. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who shout the loudest. They are the ones who have lived the longest. And after 60, something begins to change. You slowly realize that the world does not control your feelings anymore. Instead, you begin to understand the world better than ever before. When we are young, most of us make the same mistake. We care far too much about what other people think. A single comment can ruin our entire day. A strange look from someone can stay in our minds for hours. We try to please everyone. We try to fit in. We try to be accepted. But as the years pass, something becomes very clear. Other people's opinions often have nothing to do with who you really are. They come from their fears, their experiences, their struggles. And one day, after enough years have passed, you understand something powerful. It is impossible to make everyone happy, and strangely, that realization is incredibly freeing. Because the moment you stop trying to satisfy everyone, you finally begin to live for yourself. Another thing changes after 60. Small problems stop feeling so big. When we are young, even tiny obstacles can feel overwhelming. A cancelled plan can feel like a disaster. A mistake can feel like the end of the world. But someone who has lived for 6 decades has already seen much bigger storms. Real loss, real hardship, real challenges. And once you have experienced those things, the small inconveniences of everyday life lose their power over you. You begin to see problems differently. Instead of panic, you feel patience. Instead of fear, you feel perspective. And this quiet understanding brings something many people search their entire lives for: peace. Another surprising change comes with time. Your circle becomes smaller. Many people who once filled your life slowly fade away. At first, this might seem sad, but something interesting happens. As the number of people around you decreases, the value of the ones who remain becomes much clearer. You begin to recognize the difference between temporary people and true friends. You learn that loyalty is rare, honesty is precious, and genuine connection is far more important than popularity. After 60, you no longer chase crowds. You appreciate the few people who truly stand beside you, and those relationships become deeper, calmer, and far more meaningful. There is another realization that often arrives quietly. One day you find yourself looking at old photographs, pictures from years ago. You see a younger version of yourself, a face full of dreams, energy, and endless time ahead. You see people who once stood beside you. Some are still here, some are not. And suddenly you understand something that once seemed impossible to imagine. Life moves incredibly fast. Years that once felt long now feel like moments. But instead of bringing sadness, this realization often brings wisdom. Because once you truly understand how fast life moves, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop postponing happiness. You begin to appreciate today. Another powerful lesson that many people discover later in life is the power of forgiveness. Holding on to anger for years is exhausting. Carrying resentment is like carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. At some point, many people realize that forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing your own heart. Letting go of anger does not mean forgetting what happened. It simply means you refuse to let the past control your peace. And when you finally release that weight, something inside you becomes lighter. Another beautiful change after 60 is the way you see happiness. When we are young, we often believe happiness is something big. A bigger house, a better job, more money, more success. But life slowly teaches a different truth. Real happiness is often simple. It can be found in a quiet morning, in a warm cup of tea, in a conversation with an old friend, in the laughter of a grandchild. These small moments, which once seemed ordinary, begin to feel incredibly valuable. Because you understand something many people overlook. Life is not made of huge events. Life is made of small moments. And perhaps the most important transformation of all is this. After many years, you begin to make peace with yourself. You remember the mistakes you made, the decisions you wish had been different, the paths you did not take. But you also realize something comforting. No life is perfect. Every person carries regrets. Every person learns through trial and error. And eventually, you understand that you do not need to be perfect. You only need to be human. When you finally accept yourself, flaws and all, life becomes much lighter. And there is one more beautiful truth. Turning 60 is not the end of life. In many ways, it is the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where you no longer feel the same pressures. A chapter where you have more wisdom, more patience, and more clarity. You have learned what truly matters. And perhaps that is why, after 60, many people discover a deeper kind of happiness. Because, by then, you have seen enough of life to know what deserves your energy and what does not. So yes, after 60, many things stop affecting you the way they once did. But that is not because you stopped caring. It is because you finally understand what is truly worth caring about. And sometimes, the strongest, wisest, and most peaceful version of a person is the one who has lived long enough to see life clearly.